It's book tag time! Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jesse, and today I'm doing the I'm So Annoyed book tag, where we talk about all the bookish things that annoy us, all the bookish things that make us aggravated, all the bookish things that have us wanting to throw our books at a wall. Boom, 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 boom! This book tag was created by Books I'm Not Reading. I will leave a link down below in the description to their channel. I did alter a few of the questions just a little bit, but for the most part, this tag does stay true to the original. But without further ado, let's get started. Do authors ever do things that you find annoying? Absolutely, there are so many things that authors do that drive me bonkers, drive me up the wall, have me wanting to chuck a book. One of them has to do with tropes, but not necessarily like the trope itself. It's more so when it comes to like the execution and also like the relevance to the plot. There have been so many books lately that I've read, not lately, but like so many books over the past few years that I've read, where it feels like the tropes are just added within the book because they're popular and they're never executed that well and they're not relevant to the story. And it feels like the author got on the Lord's internet, typed google.com and said, what are the most popular tropes right now, and just chucked them in the book. Did not bother executing them in a way that like had me feeling some kind of way. I'm not mad at a book that like has trope after trope after trope, because I think that that's just a part of storytelling, that's a part of writing. You have to have a few tropes within your book to build off of, but it all comes down to the execution and what you bring to the table with those tropes. Another thing that really irritates me lately is when social media is involved within a book, like when TikTok pops up or Instagram pops up. Ooh, I get the ick! I can't stand it. It like just drives me crazy. And I feel like it's partly because when those things are woven in, it's more so to make it feel relatable or relevant to the time rather than like really impact the story in any kind of way. I guess it's fine when it's used as a tool within the plot, but more times than not, I just feel like it's there just to be like, look, I've got TikTok in my book, look, I've got Instagram in my book, like, I don't care. Going beyond that though is when social media is brought into a book, but they make up their own social media within the book. And I feel like most times the name that they come up with for the social media platform, oh, it's so cringy! It just takes me out of the book every time. Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler? Even as simple as someone telling you that there's a great twist within a book. I feel like currently I'm in a stage where I don't really mind spoilers. Obviously, I'm not like going out and seeking them and like hoping that I get spoiled, hoping that somebody's like, here's what happened in the book that you're currently reading. Like, I don't want that to happen. But like, if I do come across a spoiler, I feel like it doesn't necessarily like really bother me that much. Like, I feel like there's so much to a story to experience and love. And I feel like just because you know a certain thing, you don't know how you got to that certain point. You don't know the stepping stones that lead to that. So I feel like currently spoilers don't really bother me, but there was a time back in the day when I was reading the Shadowhunter books for the first time and I really did not want to be spoiled because I just wanted to like experience them for myself and find out everything on my own. And I feel like during that time it was like easy to stumble across spoilers, so I was doing everything I could to protect myself from being spoiled for the main events. But I woke up one day to somebody commenting all over my Instagram and all over my YouTube comments, spoilers for the Shadowhunter series. I was like, what are we doing? Like, clearly you're doing this just to make me mad and make me sad, and guess what? It's working because I'm mad and I'm sad. I really don't mind spoilers when they're accidental, but like when you're going out of your way to spoil someone for a book that they're enjoying, you're nasty. And I hope at night when you go to lay your head on your pillow that your pillow is never cold, that every soda you have from here on out is flat, that every reading position you find yourself from here on out is uncomfortable. It's really not that hard to be a decent human. Have you ever been annoyed by anything that you found in a free little library or a bookstore or a book sale? 2 times a year my library has this big book sale, and it's held by this group called Friends of the Library, and it's actually really cool because they're raising money in order to help fund different events and different classes and different community-based things at the library. But one of the things that drives me absolutely mad when I go to these library book sales, well, there's a couple things. One is that they're just always so crowded, which is like exciting because the more money that they make, obviously the more that they can do and the more that they can fund, but it's still just like so hard to like navigate and not be like running into people left and right because there are so many people that come out to these library book sales. I am just not somebody that does well with lots of people being around. I get very overwhelmed, I get anxious, it just is not a good time. But obviously it's great that people are coming out to buy books. The other thing that drives me bonkers about this specific book sale, the resellers. There are people that come and they're just like going through the books, scanning the books and seeing how much money that they can make by reselling it. Scan, check price, put it down. Scan, check price, put it down. And I'm not mad necessarily at the act of reselling books because everybody's got to make money somehow, some way. Everybody has bills, things that they need to provide for, and I'm never going to be upset at somebody that's doing what they can to make a little extra cash. But I just wish that they had a night solely for people that are there to resell books and then a separate night for people that are actually there to pick up books and buy them and take them and read them. It's just really hard to compete with the resellers. And again, it's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not mad at the act of reselling. I just wish that that aspect of it was managed better. And at bookstores, which actually I just had an experience at a Barnes & Noble literally this past weekend. It was actually so jam-packed with so many people. And like, that's fine. Again, I don't do the best when there's like tons of people, but it was a Saturday morning. What did I expect? Of course it's gonna be busy. And also, I'm glad that people are out buying books. Like, that makes me happy. But there was like a section of books that I was like really trying to get to. And these people were just like planted at this specific section having a full-on conversation and were not moving. I kept circling back around being like, are they gonna move? Can they move? Can they please move? And yes, in this situation, I could have easily gone up there and been like, hey, excuse me, can I get to that section right there? But they look like the kind of people that would have been annoyed if I asked that question. So I just didn't bother. Maybe that's me being judgmental that I assume that they are that kind of people, but like the conversation that they were having, they were discussing some drama and I was like, oh yeah, if I go in there and be like, can I get over there please? Excuse me please? They're gonna be like, and I just can't deal with a scoff. I can't deal with not knowing what kind of reaction I'm going to get. I couldn't deal with an unpredictable reaction that day, so I said, nope, I'm just gonna walk around the bookstore, browse all the different sections, and eventually they'll move. And guess what? Eventually they moved. My other complaint is gonna make me sound like a book snob, but book snob I am, I guess, sometimes. Keyword here is sometimes. I don't love the curated tables. Sometimes I feel like the books that are chosen for the theme of the table do not fit with the theme. And I always wonder to myself, like, how much research went into the tables? Did somebody actually read all the books on the table in order to make sure that they fit under a theme? Or did they just kind of like randomly generate the tables? I'm not sure. There's just been a few tables lately that I've kind of like side-eyed. I'm like, And maybe that's because I just wish that I could go in and curate the tables for them. That's probably the situation here. Like, I love curating a TBR. I love curating a book list, and like, maybe I should just get a job at Barnes & Noble and be like, hey, I'm gonna curate these tables, okay? Okay. I'm the official book table curator now, so don't mess with me. When it comes to short story collections, are you ever annoyed when you find a novella within a short story collection? I don't think I've ever read a short story collection that's had a novella in the middle of it, but like, I can imagine that being annoying. Like, the rest of the stories are little short, bite-sized tales, and then you get to this novella and you're like, you're joking, right? Way to throw off the flow of a short story collection. I feel like I would more so be annoyed if I was an author contributing to a short story collection and some other author like had this basically full-on novella in the middle of the collection and my short story was like 10, 15 pages. I'd be upset. Deckled edges. Beautiful or annoying? Listen, I have just never understood the deckled edges hate. This is also coming from someone who grew up with deckled edges because one of my favorite series growing up was a series of unfortunate events and all of those books had deckled edges. So my love for them was implanted at a very young age. Others annotations in a used book or a library book, annoying or are you okay with it? I love and almost like romanticize the idea of stumbling across a book in a used bookstore or a thrift store that has annotations all throughout it. Like, I think there's just something so special about that, and seeing what somebody else's experience was like reading a book, like that just really excites me. Even if it's just a stranger, like I love the idea of just like reading their thoughts as I'm forming my own opinion on the book. Like, that just sounds so exciting to me. I've low-key been hoping, oh, it just got so dark in here. Flip through books and try to find one that's annotated because I really want to find one and have that experience, but I also feel like I should just like leave it up to fate. Maybe I should stop trying to force it and just like let it happen. The library situation, that's a big no-no. I would actually be appalled if I picked up a library book, checked it out, took it home, started reading it and found like markings throughout it. I'd be like, oh no. And that's my thing with annotations in general. If it's your book, if you bought it, if you owned it, you can do whatever you want with it. But if you're borrowing a book from the library, borrowing a book from a friend, you know Oni, you know Marky. If there's a series and there are changes that are made, are you okay with it or are you annoyed by it? I assume we're talking about cover changes with this one. Here's the thing, I honestly don't mind like cover changes because when you display your books, obviously you don't typically see the covers unless you have them facing outwards. But the thing that actually bothers me more than anything when it comes to a series getting a cover change is when they change the spine. Like, if you're gonna change the cover and throw off the series as a whole, then at least keep the spine consistent. I beg of you. And if you're going to change the spine too, and I can't change your mind there, can you please keep the colors somewhat consistent? Because there have been times when they've changed the cover and changed the spine, and the spine no matchy and makes me very upsetty. Do the decisions of a character ever annoy you? If so, can you share some examples? Yes, all the time, all the time, all the time. I feel like this is a big reason as to why I'm having to like take a little bit of a young adult book hiatus currently, because the choices that the characters make in young adult books. Obviously, I was making young and dumb decisions when I was that age too. Sometimes it's just so hard to read it as it's happening. Like, it just makes me want to like scream. I'm getting worked up thinking about it. Another thing that bothers me is miscommunication, especially when it's not like really being used to drive the actual plot of the story. Like if it is being used as a way to like keep the plot going, then I'm into it. I'm okay with it. There are situations where it works and it makes sense. But if the miscommunication is just to cause like a subplot of drama, I don't want it. I don't want it. Poof, be gone. Are you ever annoyed by how somebody organizes their books? If so, what do you find annoying? Honestly, no. I've just never been bothered by what other people do with their books. Like when people dog-ear their books, it doesn't bother me. When people annotate their books, doesn't bother me. When people have rainbow shelves, it doesn't bother me. When people take off all their dust jackets and store them in bins and display their books nude, it doesn't bother me. If it makes that person happy, that's all that matters. What I think does not matter. Finally, share something bookish that you find annoying. When people judge other people for the things that they do with their books. No, but actually so many things I could list off right now. When the author's name is bigger than the title. When a book series isn't numbered or I have to go the extra mile to even find out what number the book is within the series. When book clubs put their logos on books and you can't take it off, it's not a sticker. When the description of a book is confusing. I'm not the biggest fan of long chapters. I'm tired of books following the same book title format. When a book is pitched only by its tropes. AI art on book covers, a big red flag for me. And so many other things. A lot of things annoy me when it comes to books, but the positives outweigh the negatives, obviously. That was it for the I'm so annoyed book tag. I'm now annoyed and I need to go read a good and happy book that will bring me out of this annoyed state. But I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. In fact, I want you guys to share down below in the comments something that annoys you about books. Just get it off your chest. Give me a little rant session. I'm here to listen. I'm here to take it all in. So drop a comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, yo!